Welcome to Dr. Eitner's Super Reads. One book, 2 minutes, and 3 takeaways that you can apply to your classroom, school, or district. Let's get right to it. Here's Superintendent Eitner.
Hello and welcome back to Super Reads, where we're going to give you one book, a 2-minute summary, and 3 takeaways that you could use in your classroom, school, or district. This is Jay coming back at you, and as always, 1, thank you for the feedback, and 2, send me a direct message on Twitter, or you could hit me up on Voxer or Telegram at EITNER. This episode is going to focus on an oldie but goldie, as one teacher I heard at a conference a couple of years ago used. It's definitely worthwhile for you to find, and I say that because it's not that accessible. You could find it every now and then on eBay, or you could find it on Amazon every now and then. The book is called Teaching as a Subversive Activity. It's by Neil Postman and Charles Weingarten, and it was published back in 1979. I'm going to give you a little overview and takeaways, and, well, you know the drill. So let's get started. There are books that all educators and administrators have on their bookshelves. One that hopefully most have is called Teaching as a Subversive Activity. This was written in 1969 by Neil Postman and Charles Weingarten, published by Dell Publishing out of New York City. The book was certainly one of the most controversial back in the day, beginning with the chapter titled Crap Detecting. I find it funny, as this chapter alludes to various edgy buzzwords and fads, and how back in the 60s they were running amok in faculty rooms and state policies. The introduction states that the book was written with the 2 assumptions. The assumption that society is doomed, and 2, how we could change society. These 2 assumptions are still being spoken about in educational circles today. The theme throughout the book is change, and how dirty of a word it means to many educators and administrators. Ironically, we find ourselves in the same shoes today, and some of us have built reputations on that word. The book then delves into education and how it's not a race issue, a socioeconomic issue, or yes or no issue. Education is a people issue and a people business. This could not be further from the truth, again, in 2019 versus 1969. The issues of feedback in schools being the universal pills to fix every problem by students and parents is also brought up. Do we see a pattern yet? Again, this book, written in the 60s, goes into the concepts of what you learned and how you were taught in school is totally different from what and how your kids learn today. I can't help but to think of the Common Core with this statement. The book specifically quotes how adults today are walking encyclopedias of misinformation. Mind you, this was written long before this thing called the internet even existed. It reminds us that many teachers think that they are back in the delivery of information business, when in fact, teachers are farthest from that, and those who keep to that mantra are helping students at a modicum at best. I can't help reflecting on how this was written in the 60s, and here we are in 2019, and how this is still a problem today. The authors press the point that learners can choose their own pathways of learning, are flexible, appreciate the solid facts, and prefer to rely on their own judgment. Teachers can move away from these instructional models when they were shared. Postman argues that the teachers of these subjects are ones that like to talk about it versus ones that are trying to deliver the information, with the students leaving in a predicament that how do they take away information from this class. Weingarten argues that students are often sitting in classrooms that are designed like confined boxes with desks being in rows that look like cemeteries, something that many of us are still trying to break away from in 2019. There are many other tough love statements throughout the book, and it's certainly not for the sensitive teacher. But all of us know sometimes tough love is what's best. I went a minute over on that, so I'm going to give you the 3 takeaways right now. Takeaway number 1. The book reminds us that education is in a constant shift of change and that teachers have to be open to it. This could not be any more further from the truth today, especially with how technology is such a driving force in making us change on the fly. 2. Those classified as good learners like solving problems. We can be cognizant of this as we continue to design our classrooms and have our instruction aligned to the RTI model. Mind you, RTI Tier 3 students are not just those who are in dire need of assistance. They are also the gifted and talented students in the classroom. And 3, positive praise is still paramount for success. The research from the 60s still holds today that if teachers take the time to praise all of their students, there will be movements on the success ruler. This concludes episode 4. Thanks so much, as always, to take the time to listen to this. Again, if you wanted to find the book, you'd have to go on eBay or Amazon, both of which it appears every now and then. This is Jay signing off, wishing all of you a great week and some happy reading, and onward we go.